All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. I'm back at it again. I'm going to say calling Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rekak Wadash, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, our Father in heaven, the King of kings, the Lord of gods, our sword and our shield, the one who we all should fear. And there is no other God besides him. Much love to his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, the Adonai, the Mahamashiach, the light of this world, the one who died for Israel, in order that they may be able to be grafted back in through the new covenant, through the covering of his blood, that we all may be saved. Only nation granted for salvation. Much love to Yahweh Shai and his true name, and the only name that has that's connected to the power, and whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and other names that don't have no power or no salvation. Much love to the chosen children among Israel. Much love to the brothers of the new covenant, the Akim, the brothers that's in the truth, and they do everything in their power to give us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we need to survive in these dark times to come. That we may be grafted into the new covenant. Um, they do everything in their power, from news updates, Bible breakdowns, and just giving us updates to keep us in the new covenant, and keep bringing in believers. Much love to them. Shout out to the beautiful Aquaf, the beautiful women that's in the truth. And whether you got a man or not, you still fear the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh. You listen and you learn. And silence to the best of your abilities. You're not perfect. It's okay. Um, Coming back at you with another episode through the power and spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. And today's title is called A Shift in the Spirit World. A shift in the spirit world. So we're going to get that because been getting a lot of. No, I was just watching some guy, and he be into the truth too. And he was talking about the animals acting different, and the change in the animals' behaviors, animals appearing where they shouldn't be, animals sensing certain things and seeing certain things that we can't see. Um, their behaviors are changing, um, and the spirit world is. It's because of the spirit world and because of Yahweh Shem Shai and this extreme convergence that's going on. And it's a lot of weird things that's going on that kind of inspired this video. And the spirit world is actually becoming more and more dense than usual, to where it's a lot of people that start to pick up on it, a lot of people that's worried about it. For people that's actually paying attention, watching a couple of reels and little slideshows, of people and their dogs acting strange, hearing stories about cats acting strange, animals looking into certain places, looking up in the middle of the room, looking around the room, staring at empty spaces in the room, like corners and stuff like that. And that's because they have a connection. In all animals, they have a connection to the spirit world, and the physical world and the spirit world coexist with each other at all times. And it's there with us every day, and like Yahweh Bashim Shai said, he makes spirits that's good, he makes spirits that are evil. And there are spirits around us that are at work all the time. And I can actually grab that real quick. It says, second book of Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 18. It says, while we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. It says, for the things which are seen are temporal, but the things, so we could go ahead and get the rest of this. But the things which are not seen are eternal. So he's talking about the spiritual realm, and the spiritual realm and all of these spirits and all of these things that are around us that we can't see with the naked eye, but we know that's there. So, and being me, being a very spiritual person, all my life I've always had sleep paralysis problems, meaning that I have night terrors in the dark, a lot of night terrors in the dark, a lot of nightmares in the dark, hearing spirits while I'm asleep, mainly while I'm asleep. Like, okay, I got it's so weird how this stuff works, but one ear, and this is all the time, every night. If I don't sleep with the light on, if there is no light, for some reason it invites these spirits in, and it's just completely darkness. And these are evil spirits, by the way. Good spirits, you probably won't even know that they're there, but like I said, the Lord has a balance. So there are evil spirits that exist, and these evil spirits are around us all the time, just as well as the good spirits are around us all the time. And for some strange reason, I am constantly attacked in the night, all the way to this very day. So I got to sleep with the light on, or some sort of bright light. That way I can actually see. I can't necessarily see what's coming, but it kind of like slows them down, per se, to the point to where I can actually sleep throughout the whole night without having to wake up in a cold sweat, or wake up face downward in the pillow, or wake up binded, damn near tangled, like I'm wrapped up like a mummy inside of my blanket or my cover, or or waking up, because I'll be having these nightmares, and these nightmares be so strong, and these evil spirits be so powerful. For a moment, I can't wake up. That's what sleep paralysis is too. The moment where you think you're awake, but you're still in the dream, and next thing you know, you come encounter with these evil spirits, and these spirits that are terrifying, and they attack you. And oh man, if it was not my bed, I would probably wake up. I think it was from my bed, for me waking up with bruises or whatever when I was younger. But you can wake up with bruises too. You can wake up with bruises. Nowadays I really don't get bruises and stuff like that. But like when I do have night terrors, they're very powerful. I can hear them for some strange reason. I don't know why. If I'm pretty sure other people can relate to this, because we all have that, but for me, they're pretty extreme, pretty vivid. And it's strange how my niece and my nephew, they can sleep in the dark with no problem. My sister can sleep in the dark with no problem, but I'm the only one that sleeps with the light on, because I have to see to the best of my ability, see what is coming. Even though I can't, I know that they're there. And sometimes I do have night terrors that even with the light on, and that come from the strongest spirits. I don't know. It's just something about the dark. There's just something about the dark with these evil spirits that gives them more strength, more power. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about in this lesson, is about these evil spirits coming into our physical realm, to where you can actually see them. You can actually experience them, and they can attack you, and you can actually feel that damage, rather than them being separated from us through a veil. And this veil is the barrier that allows us not to see them. and it's the part is they on the other side of the wall, you know, and this wall is so thin, yet at the same time they can't cross over, but they around us every day, you know. So you got all tons of cartoons like or movies about this, you know, like Exorcism, one of my favorites, Constantine, you know. What's another movie? Insidious, Sinister. That's another one. What's another one? Hereditary, one of my favorite ones. Very bad, very dark movie about these spirits. What's another scary movie? I don't know, but it's like a plethora of movies that actually teach you about the existence of these spirits. And I'm going to get that too in the Bible real quick. And for some strange reason, you know, besides my cousin, Brian, he was very hypersensitive too. That's what I call it. I'm very hypersensitive to the spiritual world. I'm very, very sensitive to it, especially when I'm asleep. It's the weirdest thing. Even at times when I know I'm awake, it's the weirdest thing. It's like I can't even with the light on. I gotta sleep in a certain position. I gotta sleep in a certain position because if I don't, I don't know. I get the tingling down in my back. That's how I know that one of them is nearby, or they nearby, or I'll hear a voice out of nowhere. You know, in one of my ears. I think it's my right ear. Yeah, it's in my right ear. I can hear them, and I got to sleep a certain position to where I don't know. They try to go into me, or they try to you know how you feel the monkey on your back, or a certain pressure, you know, or they try to like I don't know. It's still a mystery on what these spirits are and what these beings are, you know. So what we just know by the Bible, you know, spirits, you know, demon means knowledge. So I use the term evil spirit. It fits it more perfectly, or good spirit, you know. But yeah, I'm very, very hypersensitive to the spiritual world, and it's horrible. Without the light, these spirits would rip me apart. I would have night terrors every night. I wouldn't be able to sleep. It would be at least one or two night terrors where I'm being visited by these evil spirits constantly, you know. And sometimes I wonder, what did I do in my past life, or is this a part of is this hypersensitive, or is this attraction to these evil spirits just no, I think it's probably is a punishment from my past. I probably did something, I don't know, to be tormented like that, you know. And oh my goodness, that's exactly in a way too. They can possess people. They can possess people, and people they can go into people. They can become people, you know. Especially if a person is weak-willed, you know, or a person is vulnerable, or a person is open, you know, like, you know, drugs, you know, like drinking, you know, drinking means spirit. So if you drink too much of it, you can actually open yourself to a spirit that can actually possess you. Um, and yeah, it's just a lot of that. Let me grab Bible scripture real quick that got something to do with that. This is Job verse 4, chapter 4 chapter 4 verse 15. Chapter. And we can start at verse 12. It says, "Now a thing was secretly brought to me, and my ear received little thereof." It says, "And thoughts of the visions of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men. Fear came upon me, and trembling, which made all my bones shake." It says, "Then a spirit passed before my face. The hair of my flesh stood up. I stood still, but I could not discern the form thereof, and an image was before mine eyes." It says, "There was silence, and I heard a voice." It says, "Shall a mortal man be more just than Yahweh? Shall a man be more pure than his maker? Behold, he put in trust in his servants, and his angels he charged with folly." But that you can actually, he's actually explaining sleep paralysis, or going to sleep, and the sleep is like you going into the spiritual realm in the spirit, in a certain kind of way, because your dreams are connected to your imagination, and your imagination is connected to the spiritual realm. So when you're in the spirit, you think you're exposed when you're in your flesh. No, when you in the spirit, and then you in the spirit realm, you exposed to a manner of things, a manner of things. Because you got your imagination, and then sometimes you drift off from those boundaries, and you can end up in the spiritual realm. And anything, in anything, you will encounter the strangest things in your dreams. So or in the spiritual realm, and you're deep into that. And then again, it's something about me. It's something about you ever had that feeling to where you had to take a piss, and you didn't know that, and your dreams became more, or either they became more vivid, they became more realistic, and or your nightmares had more pressure to it, or it became more extreme, and then you woke up, and then you had to go take a piss, and then your dreams your dreams kind of lighten up a little bit. I don't know, it's just something about that. I just wanted to mention that too. Like, man, like when I gotta take a piss, and I'm dreaming, the dreams become so real. It can trigger extreme visions, man. Extreme visions. It feels the most real. I don't know. I don't know what it is about that, but yeah, it triggers. It can trigger terrible nightmares, or it can trigger extreme visions. So very, very strange, very scary things. So, but like he said, it says, "Fear came upon me, and trembling, which made all my bones shake." That's one of the symptoms that you have. Your whole body tense up, and then you end up like not being able to move, and then you wake up and you looking around like, what the hell is going on? And then next thing you know, the spirit is upon you, and you can sense it. You try to break free and all of that, and you can't. Sometimes you'll hear them speak, and you can't really understand what they're saying. I don't know. It's a scary, very scary process, but nonetheless, you can only imagine these spirits when the veil is lifted, and they can cross over to our world, and you can actually see what these spirits are doing, and what would actually take place, and how much havoc they can wreak upon the earth. Now, I got another alert about CERN. And CERN, let's get a proper definition of this real quick. Ooh, I don't know what's going on outside, but it's irritating. So we can get out of this real quick. Go here. Boom. All right, and that's the Hadron Collider. It says CERN is the European Organization for Nuclear Research. It says the world's largest particle physics laboratory, located on the San Francisco Swiss border near Geneva. Found in 1954, it uses a massive complex particle accelerators, including the Large Hadron Collider, to study the fundamental constitutes of matters and forces of nature. It says, key details about CERN. It says to understand the fundamental structure of the universe by smashing particles near light speed to simulate the conditions just after the Big Bang, or when Yahweh had said, "Let there be light," and there was light. When He created everything, it says the LHC, the world's largest, most powerful particle accelerator. It is a 27-kilometer ring buried underground where beams of particles collide to reveal subatomic particles. It says key discovery. Scientists at CERN confirmed the existence of the Higgs boson in 2012, provided by insight into why particles have mass. But yeah, the AI is breaking it down, I guess, to its best abilities. But with this type of thing, CERN can actually open up portals. It can actually open up portals. And like I said, CERN is extremely massive. It's extremely massive. So with these here, I've been hearing rumors about them opening up portals, and apparitions and beings and other sort of creatures come through the portals, and they actually witness them and they communicate with them, not knowing all the while that when these portals open, they can't be closed. Even if the machine is shut down, it is spiritually open. So it allows these spirits to pour forth into the world, so that right there is a big worry too, because it's actually messing with the atmosphere. It's actually messing with certain they tap into certain things and secrets about the world, and secrets about matter, particles, the secrets about the earth itself that's not supposed to be tampered with. And it affects what is going on here in our world. Things like the electromagnetic spectrum, things like infrared. You can have night vision goggles on, and you seeing things that you're not supposed to see, that are moving around people. So you seeing things that you're not supposed to see, that aren't there in the naked eye, that are there in the infrared or the night vision goggles. Strange things like that. But it's coming to a time to where you're going to be able to see these creatures in the naked eye. So we can grab that real quick for a Bible study. Real strange stuff. But this is why you got to be in a new covenant. This is why you got to be covered, because when the Lord gives the go and all this hell break loose, and the convergence between the spiritual world and the physical world is complete, meaning that the veil is lifted, there's no telling what is going to appear. There's no telling. There's no telling what's going to cross over. There's no telling what kind of demons is going to spill forth, or what kind of spirits is going to come out of this veil. So it's best to be ready and to be in prayer always. So why is it so cold? Ugh. Good. One more minute. Okay, this is one because this is referring to the Hadron Collider as well. And let me get another picture. This is another picture. This is by this picture is about John Dee and Edward Kelly, which were pretty much sorcerers, uh, crazy sorcerers, demonic, and his desire is to contact the angels, to summon spirits, and all that matter. So this is them. This is like an old school way of this is like an old version of the CERN, because they would use magic and they would use types of certain algebras and certain maths and certain chemicals to summon spirits to call them forth. So CERN is no different, but with like raw technology. So we can get this in 1 Samuel 28 because they got a story like that that's similar to this picture. So it says, and it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare to fight with Israel. And Achish said unto David, Know thou assuredly that thou shalt go out with me in battle, thou and thy men. And David said to Achish, surely thou shalt know what thy servant can do. And Achish said to David, Therefore I will make thee a keeper of mine head forever. Now Samuel was dead, and he a prophet. It says, and all of Israel had lamented him and buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. So, people like Edward Kelly and John Dee were banished during that time of their magical practices because it was heretic and it was demonic and it was blasphemy against the Lord. So it says, and the Philistines gathered themselves together and came and pitched in Shunem, and Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa. It says, and when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled. It says, and when Saul acquired of Yahweh, the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. I think the Urim is the stone. It was a stone that they would tap into. That would I think that's what the Urim is. It's a stone that they would tap into to see whether they would go to war or certain tasks need to be done, and the Lord will answer him through the stone. So it's some sort of supernatural stone, but I think that's what that is because I heard King Yahweh the Maccabees talking about this thing too. So it says, nor by prophets. It says, then Saul said unto his servants, it says, Seek me a woman that have a familiar spirit, that I may go and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, Behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit in Endor. And this woman was a witch. It says, and Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment and he went and two men with him, and they came to the woman by night, and he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name thee. So he wanted to perform what you see in this picture, which is a seance to call upon the spirit of Samuel from heaven to make him earthbound, so he can get answers on how this is going to go with the war that's coming. So that this is actually very disrespectful because this is a form of necromancy and waking the dead, or to call upon spirits, things that you're not supposed to do, things that you're not supposed to see, things that need to be where they are supposed to be, but there are ways and there are shortcuts to call upon them. So this is the saying where Yahweh says, I make light, I make darkness, I make peace, I make evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So These dark secrets is the left hand of Yahweh, it's the left hand of the Lord. And these things that he advised the Israelites not to ever come in contact with, not to ever practice, not to ever worship. And these things tap into magic, in all different forms of witchcraft and sorcery, things you're not supposed to be doing, including seances, because this is exactly what that is. To call upon the spirit and to make them earthbound is disrespectful and very, very unclean thing to do, because the spirit is in heaven with the Lord and it's clean. It's clean for him to be called down and to him to be bothered in his slumber and to be earthbound once again is actually very disrespectful. You don't do that. You don't call upon spirits and call them and wake the dead. It's a very disrespectful thing to do in the eyes of Yahweh, and it's very disrespectful for the people to call upon. And then sometimes, and in most times, when you call upon them, if you don't know what you're doing correctly, another spirit can answer, and you can probably get like some sort of demonic spirit, or any other apparition. But it doesn't end well. It doesn't end good. So that's why you see John D. and Edward Kelly standing in the magic circle, because if they break that magic circle and this spirit that's before them happen to be not a human spirit in human nature, and happen to be some other demonic spirit or some monster, then they're going to die. So they stay in a magic circle for protection, because it's bound by certain rules that the spirit cannot cross over to do them any harm. So this is what's going to happen. And when Saul is trying to summon the spirit of Samuel and call him from heaven, it says, and the woman said to him, behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done. It says how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits. Because you're messing with demons, you're messing with demonic apparitions, you're messing with spirits. And oh man, if you ever heard of the Lesser Key of Solomon, or if you ever heard of the Lemegaton or the 72 demons of Goshen, then you'll understand that. And it says, what's the verse? One of the verses, it says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against rulers of darkness in this age, and spiritual wickedness that dwell in high places. So it's talking about spirits. And these evil spirits, whether or good spirits, they all come from heaven. They don't come from Lucifer, from the ground and all that. Don't go like that. The Lord made good spirits, he made evil spirits, and they all have their purpose on the earth. So it says, and the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest Saul, what Saul has done. She don't know he's Saul. It says how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore thou layest thou a snare for my life, to cause me to die. And Saul swore to her by the Lord, saying, as Yahweh liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Then said the woman, whom shall I bring up to thee? It says, and he said, bring me up Samuel. It says, and when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice, and the woman spoke to Saul, saying, why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul. And the king said to her, do not be afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. So this verse is talking about Jacob's ladder. And in Jacob's ladder, and Jacob had a dream about the angels ascending and descending, was a metaphor for how the prophets come up from heaven and they go down to earth. It's the wheel of incarnation. It's a wheel, in my explanation. It's a wheel. You spin in and then you spin out. And in this wheel, or wheel of life, the process works about how you die, you live, you die, and then you're reborn. But you go through a period of you be in heaven for a time. The Lord judges you. You come down back from heaven. You live your judgment out on earth, whether it be good or bad. But this is how angels descend down. They descend down the same way. And this is how prophets are created. You got angels that can actually come down, but you have the prophets that go up, and they come down. That was the method of Jacob's ladder. So they're born, they raised, they taught, or they're punished, and they got to go through everything the Israelites go through, deal with the curses, all that. And at some point they come to the Bible, and we live many lives. We don't just live one life. That you only live once, YOLO life, that doesn't exist. Which is the reason why a lot of people have these triggers, which are called deja vus, because you felt like you've been here before at that exact time or exact place. It's because you probably have in another life. So you get multiple lives. You just don't die and that's the end of you. It don't work like that. So what she saw a lot. This woman saw a lot. She saw something extremely extreme, something that she wasn't supposed to see. So it says, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. So those gods are the Israelites. That's who they are. It says, and he said unto her, what form is he of? And she said, a old man cometh of, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and Yahweh is departed from me, and answer me no more, nor by prophets, nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what shall I do. It says, then said Samuel, wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing that Yahweh has departed from thee, and is become your enemy? And Yahweh has done, and Yahweh have done to him as he spake by me. For the Lord hath rent the kingdom of thine hand, and given it to thy neighbor, even to David. So David is going to get the kingdom after him, but he put the kingdom in the hand of the enemy. And this is exactly how kingdoms rise and they fall. This is the process, because Yahweh is known as the Lord of war. So this is how he does things, through warfare. So that's another way that America is going to go down, through intense warfare. This is how it happens. He sends nations against each other, and he'll send a bigger nation against a big mighty nation that's ready for battle against the nation that he wants gone. That's another plague. Boom, they come, they kill everything off. The nation collapses. The nation is destroyed. That's how it works. So it says, because thou obeyest not the voice of Yahweh, nor executed his fierce wrath upon Amalek, therefore he hath the Lord done this thing unto thee this day. Moreover, the Lord will deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines, and tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. And Yahweh also shall deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines. Then Saul fell straightway along the earth, and was sore afraid because of the words of Samuel, and there was no strength in him, for he had eaten no bread all the day, nor all the night. And the woman came unto Saul, and saw that he was sore troubled, and said unto him, behold, thy handmaid hath obeyed thy voice, and I have put my life in your hands, and have hearkened unto thy words, which thou hast spoken to me. Now therefore I pray thee, hearken thou also unto the voice of thine handmaid, and let me set a morsel of bread before thee, and eat, that thou mayest have strength. And when thou goest on thy way, it says, but he refused and said, I will not eat. But his servants together with the woman compelled him, and he hearkened unto their voices. So he arose from the earth and sat up upon the bed. And the woman had a fat calf in the house, and she hasted and killed it, and took flour and kneaded it, and did bake unleavened bread thereof. And she brought it before Saul and before his servants, and they did eat. Then they rose up and went away that night. So he got a bad prophecy that was about to take place. So that's how it works, with this with the spiritual realm. And in a way, this is how it works with the Hadron Collider, because they summon they use them to create portals to bring these spirits forth. And this is creating a lot of bad activity. So it wouldn't be no surprise that later on down the line, we start dealing with extreme levels of paranormal activity, extreme levels, to the point to where it's scaring the crap out of people. And and it'll be at its maximum volume when this place collapses. Oh my goodness, the things that are going to go on at night when there is no lights. Because you got these cities that light up the night. You got these cities that keep the lights on day and night, you know, or all night, and the only thing when the power go out, the only light that you'll get is the stars and the moon. So you can only imagine the moon cycles, and the moon is barely giving out light, and it's at its full moon, so it gives a lot of light. But you can only imagine when the moon is at a new moon, which there is no moon, and it has to go through its cycles. And you can only imagine how dark this place is going to get, and allowing these evil spirits to come in, man. And they going to tear you apart, man. Like the Lord said, they can come in many forms. So we can grab that. Oh, this is a famous story about how Yahweh Shai had met Legion, and this is one of the many examples. But pretty soon they're not gonna be just inhabiting people; they will be able to take their own forms, and you're gonna see things that you've never seen before. And some people are gonna see these spirits and see these monsters, and they gonna die on sight because they've never encountered something so terrifying. And like Yahweh said, I'll bring their fears upon them. Things that they never imagined that they would experience is gonna come upon them. So it says, this is Mark chapter 5, verse 1 through 20. It says, and they came over unto the other side of the sea, and into the country of Gadarenes. It says, and when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwellings among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains, because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him. It says, meaning that these spirits, he was so possessed with demonic spirits, they gave him super strength. Yes, that can happen in these times that's coming. You're gonna have people with demonic spirits in them, and they're gonna be able to do things and contort their bodies to the point to where you're gonna be horrified. And they're gonna have extremely powerful strength. They're gonna be extremely fast, able to appear from from one area to another in a blink of an eye. These people are gonna be extremely possessed, and you just gonna have to look out for these people, man. is very demonic. The times that we coming in, and these dark times that we come in, that's why we pray for the protection of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai in the name of Yahushai to protect us from these evils that he's going to bring upon this earth. So it says, and always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. So you see these bums, you see these drunkards, you see these drug addicts that be sleeping in the alleys. They sleeping on the side of the roads. Some of them are sleeping out in the open. I remember I seen a man. He was so high, he was so drunk, he was sleep right there by the crosswalk, and his legs was in the light pole. The stop and go was between his legs, and he was so sleep. He was so drunk that he was just sleep there, man. He was just sleep there. I seen a man that he was off drugs and he was homeless, and it was damn near 100 degrees outside, and he was sleeping on the concrete, no protection, no nothing, just laying down on the concrete, burning up. Now these people have these evil spirits in them that are there to torment them, and that are in them, and if so, they have control over them, because these drugs and these different drugs and these different wines and these different liquor bottles, like weed, crack, and all of them got the chemical properties to allow these spirits to come in. So these people can become anything. I got one story before I finish this. I have my cousin, right? And I love my cousin to death. This guy is like, he was like my idol. He was everything to me. He was my favorite. I loved him so much. I wanted to be him. Hell, it got to a moment to where I was stealing all his clothes. I never wanted to leave his side. He was my best friend. To me, in my eyes, I just looked up to this guy. This guy he was tall. He had the ripped body. He was amazing. He was he was playing rugby during his time. He was like a jock, to all the girls. Everybody knew him. He was all the girls wanted him. He was everything to me. But for me, this is the irony in things. This is how Yahweh would do things. This is truly the definition of he bringeth one up and he putteth one down. He maketh a man weak and he can make a man strong. So over time, he looked at me as nothing more than a nuisance. He didn't really care about me. Part of him did, but he was going through so many phases. Like he didn't care. He kind of tossed me to the side, considered me as a child. Stop looking at me like a friend. Start looking at me as an enemy or irritation, and just putting me down. Talking about my weed habits. His mom making fun of me, talking about separate from he poor, he a drug addict, he won't stop using. This is around the time where I was smoking weed, and I was out there on the streets begging and all of that. I had the demonic spirit in me too. I had a spirit in me too. And over time, there was a dramatic change. I don't know what it was, but it was an extreme change. So during the time, he had ended up catching a hold and started doing crystal meth. And first he started with powder, and then he started doing crystal meth. So a couple of years down the line, I was still in this incantation too, with all this weed and stuff. And I let him happen to come stay with me because I guess his mom couldn't take it anymore. And he had did something to his mom, and his mom had kicked him out and sent him to Vegas with us. So I'm staying in the suite. And this is also levels to these demonic spirits, because I wasn't as violent as this was. This is real demonic, and I knew it. So I was struggling. I needed help. At the time, my brother was staying. He was off Xans, and he was so high, I didn't know what was wrong with him. He would always kick it with. He had his friends. He would always kick it out. He would always wander the streets at night. You never know where he's coming from. You never know where he's going. just wandering around at night. It got to the point to where it was so bad. He was wandering around. He brought back a homeless chick. She was homeless. She was sleeping outside and all that. And she had a family way back in Louisiana. And I wasn't understanding why she was homeless out here. It was weird. But, he was off his drugs too. And I caught myself trying to get us all to team up, so we can go ahead and get an apartment or a house together. And, and dealing with my mom. And my mom is, oh my goodness. I'm sorry. And my mom, she was, she had a bad demonic spirit in her. Drunken demonic spirit. She'd get drunk, go on rampages, throw up everywhere, contort all on the ground. Like this is real shit, man. I'm sorry to curse, but this is real. And one moment she'll be nice. And then the next thing you know, she got like 3, 4, 5, 6 beers, 6 hurricanes, or she get her hands onto some dark, or any kind of liquor. And she's gonna tear everything apart. She's gonna attack you. She's gonna scream all day and night. This is how these demonic spirits have these people. So you can only imagine if you seeing these things and they got their own manifestation, they got their own form, like you see right here. It's just, oh my goodness, the intensity of these dark times that are coming. You got to be prayed up. You got to be putting in work. You got to be doing something to where Yahweh can protect you. Because when these things are given form and when this veil come down, it's going to be a lot of things that we are experiencing. Even if we are protected, we still going to have to see it. We still going to have to go through it. And it's going to be horrible, man. Imagine seeing somebody get snatched up by some sort of goblin demon, man, snatched up and into the alley and being torn apart, or some giant juggernaut werewolf like monster that's all dark with red eyes, just run and just snatch somebody up, like, or demonic gargoyles flying through the sky and all that. The type of things that the Lord can manifest is ridiculous. It's beyond our imagination. I don't know. If you ever get a chance, to everybody is listening, you should watch Cabin in the Woods. That's one of the great. That movie is a great example of these apparitions. Some of them call them nightmares. Demonic spirits. They got many names of what they are. And these things can be manifested. They can. The Lord can create anything that He wants. Anything that He wants. Anything. And He can give and these spirits can take these forms when the time comes. So like I said, CERN is doing something, and it's actually making the spiritual world more stronger. Pretty soon this veil is going to crack, and these spirits are be able to take form in our physical plane. So it's going to get real demonic. It's going to get very scary. Like I said, some people are going to be seeing these things and they're going to die from fear. And I ain't never seen nobody die from no fear, just die out of just being afraid. Oh my goodness. And you think the demonic spirits and these people are bad now. Wait till all this stuff kicks in. They're going to be like demonic zombies, bro. They're going to be. But anyways, let me wrap my story up. So one day, coming down the line, I'm sitting there, I'm chilling, but I'm noticing, because I end up getting him a job. So he working at the Cheesecake Factory, and then he ended up getting another job with me, and we was working at Sonic. Slowly but surely, he started to degrade. I'm pushing it to the side like that's my cousin. I love him. I'm not thinking that nothing bad would happen between me and him. But then I noticed a spike in the drugs. And he did something that he would never, ever do. He got up. He started threatening me. He started cussing me out. He started screaming and yelling. He started getting in my face. He was like, oh, you don't tell me what to do. You don't do this. You don't do that. I don't care. You need to shut the fuck up. Like, the side of him I've never seen before. And we all know with this crystal meth and powder, it can make a person do things that they would never do normally. So you can give a person some powder, and a defenseless person can become very violent, extremely violent. Yes, they can. And or you got people that pop pills, and one moment he can't fight, and the next thing you know, he just this all-star Muhammad Ali boxer off that pill. So you got to watch out for these kind of people and these spirits that they it's weird. It's like calling a spirit to come into you. And he just turned into this monster. Like it was so strange. And one day I had confronted him about him quitting his job, and then come to find out he quit both his jobs, talking about he's gonna make it and get a record deal, and he gonna be rapping, and a radio station had called him in so they can hear what he got to say, which I know is all lies. But I told him that he had to go. You gotta go. And I had pulled out some of my money, and I was mad about this. And I told him that he had to leave. And the strange part about it is that it was a living room and it was connected to the bedroom. And I had my back turned and I was grabbing the money. And at first, he was in the living room. And then in the blink of an eye, before I looked back and I turned back, and when I turned back, he was right in my face, like he teleported there. It's like the spirit, it's like the demonic spirit kicked in on him, and he was just looking down on me, and he was just breathing. And I forgot that one movie. Damn, I forgot. What's that movie called? It's this one movie where this dude had all these personalities, and then his last personality was called the Beast. And this thing was like some sort of monster or something like that, some sort of demon or something. But I don't know. I forgot that movie. I don't know, but it was like a demonic. It was a demonic spirit, and it terrified me so much because I thought that he was gone, because he was going through withdrawals, and when he through withdrawals, he becomes extremely violent. And I thought he was gonna try to tear me apart. This man is like 6'4", 6'4". He got muscle, he got all that, and I'm just like, you need to leave now. And he just flipped out, but he didn't put his hands on me. I guess part of him still cared, man. But this is how these demonic spirits work. And he ended up going back home, and I never saw him again. And I never want to see him again. He's still off this drug to this day. But here's the irony. I'm no longer off weed. I'm no longer off that. It's been 5 years. And I swear to myself, I'll never pick up another blunt again. And I've been blessed because of that. So, it's funny. One go into the fire and one come out. And he's still on drugs to this day. He's still off drugs. I heard he's staying with his mama right now. And me, I'm better off. I'm sober. I'm clean. I'm free. I ain't got no spirits inhabiting me. And I'm going to get that. It says, and 7 spirits shall enter a man and destroy him. So I need to get that Bible scripture real quick, too. That one right there got a lot to do with these demonic spirits, too. It says, but when Yahushai afar off, but when he saw Yahushai from afar off, it says, because he had been bound, often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains have been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters been broken in pieces, neither could any man tame him. And they be having these demonic spirits. See, some of these people are extremely uncontrollable when they be high and they be drunk. Like I said, you can only imagine the things that are going to take place when this veil comes down. So it says, and always night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. But when he saw Yahushai afar off, he ran and worshipped him, and cried with a loud voice and said, what have I to do with thee, Yahushai, the Son of the Most High? Yahweh, I adjure thee by Yahweh, that thou torment me not. For he said unto him, come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. And he asked him, what is thy name? And he answered, saying, my name is Legion, for we are many. It says, and he besought him much that he would not send him away out of the country. It says, now there was It says, now there was there nigh unto the mountains a great herd of pig feeding, or swine. And all the devils besought him, saying, send us into the swine, that we may enter into them. And forthwith Yahushua gave them leave. And the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine, and the herd violently ran down a steep place into the sea. And there were about 2,000 and were choked in the sea. So this man had 2,000 spirits in him, because you could pretty much estimate the number by how many pigs there were and how many spirits entered them. They can enter these animals too and make them become extremely aggressive. These animals, these people, I'm gonna get that too, because you got these people that got these animals around them, and they, because they feel like they done tamed them or they done created a bond with these animals, that they are harmless until these days and these dark times start kicking in, and these animals snap because they got these spirits in them and they attack they owners. This will happen. So it says, and they that fed the swine, it says, and told it in the city and in the country, and they went out to see what was done, and they came to Yahushua and see him that he was possessed with a devil and had the legion, sitting and clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. And they that saw it told them how it befell to him that was possessed with the devil, and also concerning the swine. And they began to pray to him to depart out of the coast. It says, and when he had came into the ship, he had been possessed with the devil, and prayed him that he might be with him. Howbeit Yahushua suffered him not, but said unto him, go home to thy friends and tell them how the great things of Yahweh have done for you, and hath compassion on thee. And he departed and began to publish in Decapolis how the great things of Yahushua he had done for him, and all men did marvel. So what I was gonna say, damn it, I forgot. I'm always forgetting. I'm about to close out though. Oh man, this is a bad omen too. It says Matthew chapter 12, verse 43 through 45. It says, when the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through a dry place, seeking rest, and findeth none. It says, then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he has come, he findeth empty, swept, and garnished. Then he goeth and taketh unto himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself. It says, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of the man is worse than the first. It says, even so it shall be unto this wicked generation. That's right. Because the body of a person is a representation of a house. And these wicked spirits, right now, with the veil being still present, to where they can't just enter our world and manifest, they need to come through bodies, and they can go into people and come out of people. So it says, when the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. It says, then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth empty, swept, and garnished. It says, then he goeth and taketh upon himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself. So these 7 spirits represent perfection. And some people, some of these drugs and some of these things that these people do, and they got these spirits on them. Some of it be permanent, man. And the only way to set this person free is to put them to death. And so we can get that too. Because this is what's also going to be happening in these times. It says, we are in Matthew chapter 7, verse 1. It says, and after 6 days, Yahushua taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into the mountain apart, and was transfigured before them. And his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as light. It says, and behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him. So it says, and then answered Peter and said unto Yahushua, Lord, it is good for us to be here. So he called down Moses with his power and Elias with his power, and they talk with him because they are long dead. And he has the power to do that. He is the way, he is the life, and he has the keys of death. So he's allowed to kill a person and he can bring them back to life. Or he can call a spirit down and then he can tell the spirit to go back up. He had the power of the word in him, the word of Yahweh. And Yahweh, he's so powerful, he could just say something and it happens. That's the same thing with Yahweh Shah, his son. He has the power of the word. So it says, then answered Peter and said unto Yahweh Shai, Lord, it is it good for us to be here. So he pretty much opened the doors to the spiritual realm and let them in. Pretty much. That's just pretty much what he did. He had powers to do that. They seen a bright light, and the next thing you know, 2 prophets appeared beside him. So that's pretty interesting too. He had the keys to the veil, So it says, then he answered Peter and said unto Yahushua, Lord, is it good for us to be here? It says, if thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias. It says, while he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice out of the clouds which has said, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear you him. Meaning that was Yahweh himself, the Almighty, had even spoke of his son. Spoke good on him, It says, and when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and were afraid. Sore afraid. I would have been scared too. It says, and Yahushua came and touched them and said, arise, be not afraid. It says, and when they lifted up their eyes, they saw no man. It says, only Yahushua. And as they came down from the mountain, Yahushua charged them, saying, tell the vision to no man, until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. It says, and his disciples asked him and said, why then say the scribes that Elias must come first? No, must first come. It says, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, Elias truly shall first come and restore all things. But I say to you that Elias is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto them whatsoever they listed. Likewise, so also the Son of Man shall suffer of them. It says, then the disciples understood that he had spake unto them John the Baptist, because reincarnation, he knows who they are. All of the prophets come back. They back today. It's nothing new. It says, and when they come, and when they were come to the multitude, they came to him a certain man, kneeling down to him and saying, Yahweh, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic. This is exactly what I deal with my mom and my brother and my cousin Brian, all that. Well, my brother kinda, but Brian, my cousin, and my mom, especially my mom, crazy, drunk, demonic. It says, he is a lunatic and sore vexed, for oft times he falleth into the fire, and oft into the water. This one was a bad spirit. His body was contorting, skin being burnt. Throw him into the water. He probably had one of them poltergeist spirits in him, and them poltergeist spirits be tearing shit up. Watch Paranormal Activity. That's another good one too. Watch Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin. That's a good one. It says, and I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. Then Yahushua said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. And Yahushua rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him. And the child was cured from that very hour. It says, then came the disciples to Yahushua apart and said, why could we not cast him out? And it says, and Yahushua said unto him, because of your unbelief, verily I say unto you. It says, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not out by prayer. It says, not out but by prayer and fasting. That's right. You got to pray for it. You have to desire this. You have to keep wearying the Lord so Yahweh Shem Shai can grant you what you desire. Because I know me, man. The Lord had to show me how to break my habit of weed smoking and had to cancel out and get rid of this spirit of addiction that was tearing my life apart, man. And I used to be so addicted to marijuana. I was outside begging for it. I was outside begging for change. I used to remember them cold winter nights, man. I'd still be out there trying to get this fix because weed is no different than crack. I don't care what nobody say. The only difference is that you can break your dependence on weed easier than any other drug. That's it. But other than that, it's super addictive. And you got to be strong, too. You got to be strong. I used to be out there endless nights, cold. I used to be out there with my best friend. Out there digging through trash, collecting cans. I used to be a thief too, shoplifter, stealing everything that I could, bottles, all kinds of things, and selling it for drugs. And I used to be so addicted to marijuana to the point to where money or anything else didn't even matter. The only thing that mattered was my next high. It got to the point to where I was broke. People was laughing at me, making fun of me. I couldn't focus. It got one point to where it spiked out of control to where I couldn't breathe without it. It got even more extreme than that. It got to the point to where I got bad eyesight, so it made my eyesight worse. It made me feel like I was going blind. Come to find out, it was a strong case of bronchitis that was growing in my chest, real bad, real bad, and I had to go to the doctors to get this pump to remove it. So it was destroying my life. It was destroying me. So the Lord had to teach me how to exercise the spirit, how to get it out of me. And like I said, through fasting, through prayer, through determination, you got to be strong. And I quit once, and then I went back to it out of depression. And then after that, I quit for good. I quit forever, because I felt bad. I'm like, I shouldn't even be doing this in the first place. I'm broke. I'm going through troubles. Things are getting harder. In order for me to move forward, I don't need this no more. So I finally broke dependence on it for good. Never went back. Never going back. Never again. And I'm super clean. Been clean for 5 years. Yahweh is good. The Lord is good. But he taught me how to cancel out the spirit. So for me, getting rid of the spirit, I had to go through the old ways. And in the story in the Bible, wine is a part of the law. Wine is allowed. Drinking is allowed in the Bible. And Yahweh Shai was a wine bibber in the Bible too. He used to get drunk a lot. But as far as I'm concerned with me, I had ended up, I hate drinking. In fact, I didn't have too much of a good stomach for it, and I used to drink to replace the high with another high. I don't know, but over time it ended up canceling it out, and I ended up being able to drink, and it canceled the drug out for good, and it put me through a major withdrawal. And what had happened is that over time with the wine, I didn't like it too much, and I drink rarely. I ended up getting rid of that too, So I drink like every blue moon, But it helped cancel it out. And there is a story like that to where certain elements that is required to actually get rid of certain spirits, you know. Whether it be through fasting or praying, it could be through certain elements from the earth, because certain spirits are extremely powerful, or you need to have the power bestowed upon you from Yahweh in order to cast out evil. So, what's that? One more, and then I'm done. And this one I went to last time. Where is it? Where is it? Final Bible verse. Okay, this is Acts chapter 19, verse 14 through 16. It says, "And there were 7 men, 7 sons of Sceva, a Jew, a thief, a chief of the priests, who did so." It says, "And the evil spirit answered and said, Yahushua I know, and Paul I know, but who are you? And the man in whom the evil spirit dwelt leaped on them and overcame them and prevailed against them. So they fled out of the house naked and wounded." You do got spirits like that too, where people be butt naked out wandering around. Some people be without their pants. I don't seen all of this before. People be wandering around with just boxers on, walking around the street at night. Some people be with them hospital gowns on, butt naked underneath, because the hospital probably couldn't keep them there no more, or the people that's taking care of them don't want to take care of them no more. It's a lot of this activity that's going on out there, man. And I got another story, but it's the same story from an older episode, but I'm doing the best I can to explain these spirits, these things that are about to take place. But be wary, be vigilant, you know. Um, Stay in prayer, call on Yahweh Shem Shine and name Yahweh Shai. The Lord loves you all. And for you guys that are listening, this is for you. And yeah, man, it's gonna be going down soon, and the end times is gonna be much worse than we ever believed, than beyond our imagination. It's so hard to explain, but this is I can just label this spiritual world. No, I can label this as part one. And I'll get more breakdown some other time. But with that, I'm out of here.